Call Allah Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Call Allah Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Barakatam Yahweh, Barakatam Yahushai. Barakatam Yahweh, Barakatam Yahushai. Call Allah Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Bahashem Rakakwadash. High praise to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Peace and salutation to the elect of the nation of Yasharallah. Shalom, Labo Karim Shah, Yasharallah. And as you can see, just like the other apostles, double honors unto them. Double honors to the other apostles, a great millstone who taught us this truth. And who teaches this truth in sincerity and who rule well. And just like the other apostle, Tahar, is always going on and saying, you know, you miss a day, you miss a lot. There's so much going on now, so much escalation going on over this war. And with Iran, between Israel, Iran, the Ukraine, everybody lining up in the Levant. Daniel 7 and 8 coming to pass, Ezekiel 38 coming to pass. Man, there's a lot going on, but these are some of the headlines that's going on, and then I'm going to get into some scripture, and as we always do, we're going to filter these headlines, these current events, through the truth of the scripture. Abaratazah. Here we go. Moscow summons British and French ambassadors over deadly Ukrainian attack in Bryansk. Okay, so we can see that the Russians, the bear, is making moves. They're concerned about their interest in Ukraine over this deadly attack in Bryansk. You know, that's the whole Ukraine front, that end, and we know from reading Ezekiel 38 that everything that's going on in Ukraine, the war footing is about to change, because everybody's going to abandon Ukraine and they're going to come down into the Levant region, into the Middle East, because that hornet's nest that's been kicked up by the Zionist nation state of Zionist Israel, and with the help of Babylon, the whore, aka the United States, they've kicked the hornet's nest. And DJ Trump really doesn't know what the heck he's gotten himself into, and he's starting to backpedal. But he knows that he's in it now. Now they're sending troops over to the Levant right now, over to Iran, to put boots on the ground. And we know that once you put boots on the ground, it is very hard for you to back up once they try, you start trying to establish a forward operating base and try to do excursions. They already sent Marine MARSOC, Marine Scout Snipers to do recon over in the area to see how they're gonna, go about their mission in this excursion. And so here's a second headline that is very pertinent to what's going on right now, both in Ukraine and in the Levant region where they're trying to fight right now. It's also going to affect the Israelis, so-called the Israelis, the Zionists. Iran conflict could drain U.S. arms supplies and hit Ukraine hard, but it's not only going to hit Ukraine hard, but it's also going to hit the Zionists hard, because they're being supplied by Babylon the whore as well. So, with them running out, you know what? This reminds me of that's the spirit. This is Jeremiah 40, I believe 49. Yeah, that's the spirit. This is Jeremiah 49, starting at verse 20. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh that he hath taken against Edom, and his purpose that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate. Mm. Yeah. So, I mean, we see that the least of the flock has drawn them out. Least of the flock being the Amalekites. You know, and they're getting their asses handed to them. You know, I know Tel Aviv is being destroyed. It's like just a heap of rubble right about now. They also there was talk that B.B. Milikowski, aka Benjamin Netanyahu, was actually taken out in one of those hits that Iran did either today or yesterday. They came on afterwards with a little like press conference, but some people say that the press conference itself was artificial intelligence, the AI videos. Yeah, so U.S. Navy destroyers are firing top interceptors to down Iranian missiles. I don't know how well that's going because we already seen that the Iron Dome, David Sling, and all the rest of the Golden Dome and all that has not been very accurate in being able to intercept any of Iran's volleys of missiles that they've been sending over to Tel Aviv. And, you know, these all have been supplied by Babylon, by the United States. So it's a good bet that Iran now sees that more or less the capabilities, the defense strategy and defense capabilities of the U.S. is almost non-existent. You know, so that gives them more poise and more of a chance. Now, you know, Babylon or United States, the U.S. military is talking about now arming B-2s. I think they did a run today and yesterday. They fired the Moabs, you know, and the mother of all bombs, the MOP bombs, what they call the MOP bombs, MOP bombs, which are the basically the bunker busters, and they're trying to get to the Iranian, basically their headquarters that's inside the mountains. And I don't think that they are really equipped to continue that type of a campaign. What I think is probably what they're looking to do is they're gonna try to escalate this thing until they can, you know, start using tactical nukes. You know, they're gonna use some small ordnance at first, but then I'm thinking that they probably most likely will, you know, up the ante as time goes on, until, you know, everybody just starts firing on everybody. But when that happens, you know, then Yahushua returns midway, that whole missile exchange, and then goes to war with all the nations right down there in the valley of Yehoshaphat. That's Ezekiel 38 and 39. Matter of fact, we're going to read that. Let me get that scripture, that precept. Let's see, Ezekiel 38. Let's see. This is Ezekiel 39, first one, and the point is in the point of two. The point is in two, but I'm going to read starting at verse 1. Therefore, thou son of man, prophesy against Gog, and say, Thus saith Yahweh, power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and leave but the sixth part of thee, and will cause thee to come up from the north parts, and will bring thee upon the mountains of Yasharallah, and I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, and will cause thine arrows to fall out of thy right hand. So that's talking about, the exchange, those arrows that they're talking about as missiles, of course, that we notice, being that the Ezekiel, the prophets, used, words that they understood at that time. They didn't have the technology and they didn't know what missiles were, but they understood them to be as arrows. So, and I will, verse 3, and I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, and I will cause thine arrows to fall out of thy right hand. Thou shalt fall upon the mountains of Yasharallah, thou and all thy bands, and the people that is with thee. I will give thee unto the ravenous birds of every sort, and to the beasts of the field, to be devoured. Thou shalt fall upon the open field, for I have spoken it, saith Yahweh Power. And that's exactly what's about to happen down there in the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, where, Russia hasn't moved in just yet. Russia hasn't made any move. God hasn't made any move just yet to go down that way. But we see how Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Yahweh has organized this thing to get them to that point. But when the United States now puts boots on the ground, I really think that at that time, because they already know that the U.S. is going to be stressed too thin, too far, because you've got Ukraine war going on, and that's a proxy war that they're aiding and abetting, and at the same time, now they're going full hilt with a direct assault / proxy through the Zionists against Iran. But this Iran thing is more a foot forward, with the U.S. The U.S. is in a current war with Iran, right? So that being said, the U.S. is going to be too thin to be able to occupy or to be able to babysit the interests that they have, especially like in the South Pacific. When you talk about Taiwan and that whole region over there, when the U.S. goes into Iran, China and Russia both will know that there'll be mostly China, because it's in China's interest. They've been wanting to get Taiwan back for the longest, and they want to get Taiwan back so that they can corner the market on the technology, because Taiwan is, they produce 90% of the world's semiconductors, it's just microchips, You need microchips for everything electronic. You need microchips for all of this military technology. And so that's why they want Taiwan, right? So when the U.S. is too thin, to be able to readily and able, to defend Taiwan against the threat of China coming in, then that's when it's really gonna go down. That will also give the Russians the kind of like the go ahead to like kind of tag team the U.S. at the same time. So, but yeah, this is what's happening, man. The time is short. These things are coming to pass, and we see it happening. All the chess pieces on the board are starting to line up, and it's about to go down, man. It's really about to go down. Yep. So let's go back into hold on. Yeah, that's the spirit. Last call for alcohol, so to speak. It's late. It is late, but this is Revelation 3, verse 20. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. Well, I read that because, I mean, it popped up. Obviously, it was for somebody. But yeah, it's just a nice little warning because this thing is heating up and it's almost to the point. It's almost to the tipping point, you know. But we still looking forward to the MOTB still has to come out. That's the last major prophecy that has to be fulfilled. Because now they're talking about, you know, today, you know, late breaking news. If you haven't heard it, you know, they're talking about forecasting some type of Iranian assault in California through drones. So, which we already know that whether, you know, Hegelian dialectic, if they don't have, you know, problem, solution, you know, type thing, they need a catalyst, they need a black swan type event to happen, to occur, so that eventually they can make that MOTB mandatory, whether they do it through a civil you know, or a domestic terrorist type of ordeal, in which they have to narrow down the search by microchipping everybody and digital IDing everybody, because we can't trust that these people, we don't know whether or not they have had access through cyber means, you know, because the Iranians have already said that they're going to cyber attack all U.S. banking. So at that same time and at that same premise, you know, the U.S. will probably say, you know, piggyback along, because they're never going to miss a chance for an opportunity to capitalize on what this really is about, which is the microchipping or the RFID chip implant, you know, either through Neuralink in the brain or through the RFID microchip in the hand. But they can use that as a catalyst to say, oh, all our identification softwares and servers, you know, whether it be through your state-issued IDs, like your licenses, everything has been compromised. So we don't know who's who now. We don't know whether or not they have printed out false documentation, this, that, and the other thing, and now we have to get everybody digitally ID'd. That's what I'm kind of foreseeing. That I'm not saying that exact situation is going to happen, but you can kind of, you know, infer that something like that could be used. A black swan event could be used to usher in either martial law and a mandatory MOTB. Yeah. So I mean, the time is short. The time is short, Akim. You know, brothers and sisters, the time is short. You know, it's right here at the door. But we giving all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Anyhow, you know, his praises never stop. And yeah, you know, I just wanted to get that tidbit of information out there. But I'm on this app, Russian News, looking at this is what I was looking at, all the new headlines for, because there's been sort of a media blackout towards what's going on with this whole war thing. Now they're saying 6 airmen died in crash, 2,500 Marines being sent to the Middle East. I truly believe it's more than just 6 airmen that have died, because they're not mentioning what's the hospital over in Germany that they had used for triage. I think that the casualties are way higher than what they're alluding to, either on the IDF side or on the U.S. Whatever they want to call that, Joint Task Force or whatever, you know, whether it's U.S. Soldiers or whether it's the IDF. I think there's way more casualties than what they're alluding to, because had come on. I don't think, a couple of days ago I saw a headline about a hospital in Germany that they were using for triage. I forget what the name of it is. I think it starts with a L. But yeah, they were saying that people that were stationed there and people that were working there, they were bringing in a lot more soldiers than what they had been reporting on through these mainstream news, mainstream media sources. Which we know, the little hats own everything, so they're going to try to put a cap on the truth getting out there, especially if it looks like they're not doing so good, and it looks like they've really bit off more than they can chew. Both sides of this thing, both the Zionist and the U.S. Yeah. Trump calls Iran's leaders deranged scumbags as Middle East violence spirals. Well, he can do all the name calling he wants, but the whole fact of the matter is, they, as of today, it looks like they are really, waging this war. We saw that their spokesperson, their leader, their prime minister, is not worried at all, it looks like, about the U.S. threat of putting boots on the ground. They said that they openly said that we're waiting for you. So, yeah, this thing is heating up quick. It's heating up quick. I really think if this thing doesn't jump all the way off by, summertime, or at least by May, June, I think by that time we may just see. Well, we're definitely going to see the whole socio-economic impact of everything that's going on right now. And let me go to Second Esdras. This is Second Esdras. Second Esdras 15. We've been hitting Second Esdras as of late hard. 15, 16. This is Second Esdras. Let me go down. Yeah. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So this is the times that we getting ready to go into, because there's going to be so much turmoil, whether it be blackouts, whether it be cybersecurity, interventions, or cyber security. I won't say interventions, but cyber warfare that's taking out the power grid or taking out the banks, and we already see how that could play a major part in what goes on, especially domestically. Because here, if we don't get these random attacks, like they're saying, that they're talking about, then just this Strait of Hormuz situation being shut down, the Strait of Hormuz being shut down is going to prevent any type of oil to get over here. Any of the oil tankers that was on their way over here, they can't make their way over here, and they're not being filled up with oil, and they're not bringing that oil over here. So what is that going to do? That's going to make the gas prices higher. When gas prices go higher, we know that 90% of everything that you buy in the stores and 90% of everything that is delivered via online shopping is delivered by trailers, trucks on the road. So those gas prices going astronomical is going to have a trickle-down effect in everything. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to, and this will be because of the sedition, because of civil upheaval. because when them store shelves get bare, they always say, it's only 9 meals away from chaos. Yeah, that's all it takes. 9 meals. Somebody they miss 9 meals, it's going to be utter chaos, because people was going to be concerned. Hey, look, I got children. I got my family to be concerned about. How we going to eat? How we going to live? How we going to survive? When that starts happening and them store shelves get bare, look out. Especially in the cities, it's going to be absolute bedlam. You're going to be fighting over supplies, and just like it says here, for there shall be sedition, verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. People breaking into each other's houses. Yep. And then it's the second time they mention it in this chapter, in verse 18. For because of their pride the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. And this is the time that we're coming into. And, if Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is not dealing with you, you're going to have it's going to be hell, man. It's going to be hell. People is going to be scared. Even the mighty men is going to be scared, So, this is the time that we are living in, man. This is the time that we're about to enter into, and you really have to be considered. You should have been, and this is something. Well, the Proverbs says that a righteous man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. And foreseeing the evil and hiding yourself in one way or another, you can say, okay, well, it's always good to have a little bit extra food stored up, Now we know that these preps and things, if Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai isn't dealing with you, then your preps are they may just go to somebody else, because you don't know. In that time when as we enter into the throes of Jacob's trouble, certain things, as it arrives, just like the other apostle was mentioning that movie. She's seen it before, called the Road movie with Viggo Mortensen. I think it came out in like 2003, 2002, something like that. Same type of situation where they were on the road, they were looking for goods, they were looking, people had become insane, and because of the seditions, and just like 2nd Ezra 15 and verse 16 says, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, meaning that whatever the course of their action is, whether it is to kill and to rob and to pillage and to rape, is going to stand in the course of it shall stand in their power, meaning whatever people behaving badly decide to do is what's going to be done, and there's not going to be any authorities or law enforcement, how it is right now, and to basically right the wrong or to enforce the laws or to make people not do those things. That's how crazy it's going to get, So, this is the time that we're coming into, and we seeing it little by little. It's coming. Food prices going up, grocery prices going up. The Akim did a quick 20-minute. It was like about a 19-minute video that I was looking at. I think it was either Arrows of Indignation, where he was just talking about how hellish this place is about to become. The food prices is astronomical. When you got a jar of mayonnaise is $9.99. That's crazy for a jar of mayonnaise, $10. And just like that, the food prices going up. because the gas prices is going up, and the gas prices is going up because the oil ain't moving, and on top of all that, the other things that were being exported, a lot of countries aren't exporting here. There's about 20 or so countries that are totally not exporting anything into the United States right now. I think it's like Denmark, Norway, France, Spain, all those, like a lot of European countries, and maybe some Asian countries as well, but they are not exporting anything into the U.S. right now. So yeah, it's about to be crazy, because once the goods that are here right now, okay, you might have a couple of warehouse and distribution centers that are, have stored, goods and things like that, but we have just-in-time delivery type of infrastructure here when it comes to groceries and stores. When any store you go into, when you take a product off the shelf, only one product is ordered to replace the product that you just took. So they're not, it's one for one. It's one for one. And that one for one, that's not enough lead time to be able to keep a constant supply. Now, if it was like 10 for 1, it would be a different story. But as in all business, it's supply and demand. If the demand isn't there, they're not going to go out of the way to supply more than what they can guarantee a sale for. So, but yeah, that's what's coming. And what I really think they may try to do, just like I said, they may try to piggyback a cyber attack on top of it and say, oh, man, our delivery system, all sorts of logistical errors and things like that. You know how much that would create absolute pandemonium, So, if they really do hit us with the banking and all the other cyber, relegated systems, then, it could be crazy. It could be absolutely crazy. That's why it is good to have some extra stuff on hand. But even if you have extra stuff, you better have something to protect it with, And the main thing is you better have Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai with you, because if Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai ain't with you, then hey, man, somebody might rip in your house, kill you, and take your stuff, So this is the time that we're entering in, hard decisions will have to be made. We're going to have a lot more faith, this is a go-to. I keep going back to, it's one of the at this point, it's one of my staple scriptures, Isaiah 33:6. Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of thy salvation. The fear of Yahweh is his treasure, and that wisdom and knowledge is this truth, knowing and having faith in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, and having faith in his holy word and in his precepts and his doctrine. That is the wisdom and knowledge that is the stability of our times. Because when things get stressful, when things get strenuous, when things get crazy, when things go to shit, when the shit hits the fan, in many cases, we may only have our faith in what the word of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is saying. And during that time, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of thy salvation. The fear of Yahweh is his treasure. And what is the fear of Yahweh? It's the beginning of knowledge. Let me go to, yeah, that's the spirit. I was just reading that in Psalms. Yep. Hold on. Salaki. Slakia. Bear with me. I'm just trying to find this. Alright, as soon as I paused it, I found it. Okay. This is Psalm 111 and verse 10. Let me get this. Psalm 111, verse 10. The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endure forever. And so that just piggybacking off of, or not piggybacking, landbacking off of landbacking. Slakia, because, ain't no pork on my fork. But landbacking off of what Isaiah is talking about, the wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength in thy salvation. And the fear of the Lord is his treasure. Or the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. So that's what we're really holding on to. That's what we're really going to have to, we're going to really have to be rooted in this truth, and most importantly, praying for mercy through this whole thing. But this is that's what I got for right now. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barakatam. Kol Halayim Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Barakatam. Shalom. Labukariam Shah Yasharala. It's peace to the hopeful elect, and shalom to the next one. Shalom.